If you've been dealing with shoulder pain in the gym, benching, shoulder pressing, or even playing sports like football or basketball, chances are you are not warming up your shoulder properly. Doing the exercises like you see in the screen are not actually doing what you think they're doing, and they are not preparing your shoulder to be able to sustain powerful movements or heavy movements. In this video, I'm going to take you guys through the best overall warm-up for the shoulder that you guys can do to bulletproof that shoulder so you can progress in the gym and optimize your performance without risk of injury. Hi, my name is Dr. Seidel. I hold a doctorate in physical therapy, and I've been working with countless patients with all sorts of different orthopedic and sports injuries and conditions, ranging from those in the NFL, D1 spaces, all the way down to those people who just want to get rid of their nagging knee pain when they walk. My whole purpose with this channel is to give you guys some of the tips, tricks, and knowledge that I've gained from my 7 years of study and professional practice, and that I've gathered from working with professional athletes in all sorts of different sport categories. The whole motto here at EveryoneAthlete is exactly that. Everyone is an athlete, whether you're a professional, an amateur, a weekend warrior, or just somebody who likes to get outside and be active. Our bodies are made to move efficiently, and when they can't do that, they start taking motion and strength from other joints excessively, which in the long term can lead to injury and pain. If you like this type of content and you want a one-stop shop for tips and advice and some good exercises on not only how to rehab your injury and get rid of your pain, but also continue progressing in the gym and in your sports without fear of re-injury, make sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel so that you guys don't miss a single video as they come out. And the reason why I ask you guys to do this is not just to help support the work that I do here with recording and editing these videos and to build up my subscriber base, but it is the best way to let the YouTube algorithm know that my videos are actually helpful to you guys. And so that way it shares my videos with more people who are dealing with issues like yourselves. Okay, so diving right in, we first have to talk about the shoulder joint itself, as well as some of the key musculature that are typically injured and weak in lifters and athletes, so that we can build ourselves the best possible activation and warm-up routine. The shoulder joint, or the glenohumeral joint, is where the humerus and the shoulder blade come together, and is the most mobile joint in the body, being what we call a ball and socket joint. Because of this extreme motion that's allowed here when compared to the other joints, it has its own set of stabilization muscles called the rotator cuff, aside from other musculature that crosses the joints such as the biceps, the triceps, and the deltoids. It's made up of four main muscles called the sits muscles. These are the supraspinatus, the infraspinatus, the teres minor, and the subscapularis. There are other small muscles around there as well, but these are just the primary stabilizers of the shoulder. The rotator cuff's sole purpose in stabilizing the shoulder is to make sure that the ball of the humerus is moving appropriately in the socket of the joint so as to avoid any kind of dislocation, any kind of muscle pinching, or even torn ligaments with everyday movements or exercises focused on strength and power. The bigger or heavier the movement, the more activation is required from this muscle. As a general rule, we want to first try to stretch or mobilize any tight tissues, and then subsequently strengthen into that new motion that we have. So kicking off this list of exercises for this warm-up, we're going to start off by performing an active mobilization and release exercise called the tall crutch exercise, which I learned way back in my PT school years. You'll want to grab a weight that is kind of medium heaviness, like a 10 to 20 pound weight, not something super crazy so you don't want to dislocate your shoulder, but not something too light because we do want some weight pulling us down. You'll sling your arm over a stationary barbell or a round bar that is positioned around armpit height. It's really important that you keep your armpit tilted backwards in this movement, as we're trying to target the muscles on the back side of the armpit and avoid any sensitive structures that run down the front, such as some arteries and veins and some nerves. If you notice any kind of numbness or tingling in the hands, you're probably too far forward. The motion here is pretty simple. All you're going to do is gently rock the weight back and forth, making sure to completely relax the shoulder. You can perform this for about 10 to 15 reps for about 2 to 3 sets. This exercise is going to be facilitating the active release of some of your internal rotator muscles, which is a group that tends to be very tight. Your pecs are part of that group. But for this exercise, we're mainly targeting the latissimus dorsi, or just the lats, teres major, and subscapularis. You will be getting some of the external rotators as well, part of the rotator cuff, but that's not our primary focus. Next up, we have what we call supine snow angels. Now, this exercise is focused on stretching the pecs, right? The pec major and the pec minor, which I know on everybody, mostly everybody, is tight, including myself. You'll place a foam roller or ball underneath your back and gently and slowly perform a snow angel motion with your arms. The focus here is to allow your hands to drop down to the ground as much as you can throughout the movement. And you should feel the stretch in your chest, because as we said, this is really for your pecs. Again, these can be performed in sets of around 10 repetitions for around 2 to 3 sets, or as many as you would like. So we've done some active release and we've done some stretching of the muscles that typically get tight on lifters and athletes. So now moving on to the strengthening portion. We had 2 stretching exercises, and now we'll have 2 to 3 strengthening or activation exercises. Remember that the rotator cuff is small. The muscles there are relatively small compared to other muscles in your body. And so with every exercise that we're going to talk about in terms of strengthening, we shouldn't be going very heavy. We should be going pretty light so that we are in full control the entire time and avoid further injury to our shoulder. We'll start off with a super common one, and this is external rotation in neutral. You'll start off by getting a cable or a band and setting it around elbow height, making sure to keep the elbow locked in at 90 degrees throughout the whole movement. The motion here is an outward rotation of your arm at your shoulder only. If performed correctly, you should feel this in the back of your shoulder where your rotator cuff is at. A variation of this can be performed on a bench as shown on screen, but again, make sure to keep the weight relatively light enough so that you can perform these slowly and with control. Again, making sure to keep the elbows locked in at 90 degrees. Next up, we have what I call standing banded snow angels. Now, this is an amazing all-around shoulder warm-up, and it'll target not only the rotator cuff, but also all the muscles around your shoulder blades, which are super important for things like benching. The band here should be anchored around shoulder height. The goal here is to perform a snow angel like we did laying down, while keeping your hands as far back as possible throughout the whole movement so that you're fighting the pull of the band the entire time. A variation of this can be in prone or on your stomach as shown on the screen, but make sure to keep your arms as high off the ground as possible throughout the whole movement. Again, the point of this exercise is activation only, and at least for the first couple times that you do it, you should be using a relatively light band with relatively light resistance. Lastly, we have what I like to call the 5-part external rotation. Now, this is probably going to be the hardest one of them all, but it's probably going to give you the best activation and probably the best strengthening one out of all of the exercises we talked about today. Because this exercise is being done both down by your body and up above your head, this is helping activate and strengthen that rotator cuff musculature, not only in a shortened position, but also in a lengthened and more vulnerable position, like you would be doing in a throw, a bench, or a shoulder press. So if you guys take anything away from any of the exercises that we just did, at least do this last one, as it's probably going to be the most effective one for your shoulder. Remember that performing these stretches and exercises should be done prior to starting your sets. These are activation exercises and should not be done in replacement of the warm-up sets that you would do in your regular lift. So for example, if I wanted to bench, I would perform these exercises first, then I would do my regular benching routine with 3 to 4 warm-up sets on bench. So here's a list of the exercises that we talked about today. Feel free to pause this video and take a screenshot so that you can refer to it later when needed. So there you have it, the best possible shoulder routine that won't take you a whole lot of time to do, but it'll be super effective in not only bulletproofing your shoulder and getting rid of your pain, but making sure that pain never comes back as you progress throughout the gym. My pet peeve with being a current lifter and with being a former college athlete is still getting injured right before a PR or right before a big game. And I know a lot of you guys feel that same way too, because a lot of my friends do. And a lot of people that I meet in the gym also are dealing with the same thing. So my goal with this channel is to gather experience and knowledge and strategies that I've gained from my years of lifting and from being a college athlete, as well as my 7 years of study and physical therapy and professional practice and all that, blah, 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 blah. But put this all together in these videos to help you guys deal with some of the common issues and injuries that happen for both athletes and gym goers, and make sure that you guys are able to keep progressing in the gym without having the fear or pain of continual re-injury. So if you guys like that idea and you guys want to stick around to be able to learn more about how your body works and how you can rehab it, make sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and make sure to ring that notification bell so that you guys don't miss a single video. Also, feel free to drop that in the comments if you guys have any conditions or any kind of pain that you want me to go over, because then I'll add that to the list of videos that I'm going to make so that I make sure I cover it and you guys can keep going to the gym and keep progressing and setting those PRs. As always, I'll see you guys in the next video.